Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the world. My name is Zach Jones, although a lot of you probably already know who I am. Welcome back to my channel, but if you're new to my channel, then welcome. As I mentioned, I'm reshooting some old PowerPoints with a little bit better camera work this time, touch wood. Now, I'm going to do again the 18 Animals of Africa PowerPoint. Now, Africa is a continent that is legendary for its wildlife. In fact, there's more large carnivores and veggie mega beasts there than anywhere else on Earth. But also, it's where mankind evolved. And I'm going to start with Africa's largest predator, the African lion. The African lion was first depicted in cave drawings dating back 12,000 years ago, and throughout history, the lion's muscular body, beautiful mane and deafening roar has inspired people for generations, like from Richard the Lionheart to the story of the Lion King, and also the Hogwarts founder Godric Gryffindor having his Hogwarts house coat of arms a lion. The lion represents courage, savage grace and valour. The lion is the second largest of the big cats. In fact, it's only second largest because the Siberian tiger beats it at first. Because a fully grown male lion can be up to about just under 3 meters long, can weigh as much as 3 adult men, has canine teeth as long as my thumb, and also a bite force of about 600 pounds per square inch. Of course, they're also the only cats to live in large groups called prides. And of course, prides usually consist of several related males, 8 to 10 adult females and their young, but there's always one dominant male. Of course, prides are extremely united with very little fighting, even among the males. And of course, that's all down to how to help them hunt, but I'll get to that bit later. Because outsiders are never admitted into prides. Of course, lions that are separated from their prides typically die of hunger or attacks from other prides. Of course, lions are the only members of the cat family that work together in large groups. Of course, also, while lionesses, the females, do up to 90% of the hunting, people always have this idea that the males are lazy, that it's the females that do all the work, when that is both incredibly untrue and also very, very sexist. Because the male lions don't do a lot of the hunting because their bulkier body and large mane are easy giveaways, but also they will they will help out whenever they can. Of course, especially if you're the leader of the pride. Like, if you ever see a male lion who is the leader of a pride up close, you'll see he's covered in scars and scabs, and the tips of his canine teeth are chipped away after taking a beating from a rough life. Because if you're the dominant male, the leader of the pride, then you have a very difficult life, because you need to maintain order, protect your family, and pass your genes on to the next generation, and of course fight off other males. Of course, fights between males can be brutal, and they can be to the death. Of course, the dominant male lion will have the most to lose, not only the pride in his territory, but possibly his own life. Of course, African lions how they use teamwork, it allows them to take on prey much bigger than themselves. Of course, while a lone lion can sometimes be a successful hunter of small game, combined unity of the pride enables them to take on larger prey. Of course, they mostly prey on warthog, zebra, antelope, Cape buffalo, and they will even take on elephants, which is absolutely incredible. Of course, they also hunt wildebeest. Of course, probably the most dangerous prey that lions regularly hunt is this Cape buffalo. Now, Cape buffalo are one of Africa's biggest mammals, and they are quite dangerous. I mean, they're bovids, or bovine animals, which means they're in the cow family. And if your idea of a cow is a slow-moving, dopey, friendly freeloader chewing the cud, you could not be more wrong, as this is a group that contains not only the Cape buffalo, but the water buffalo, the bison, and the musk oxen, and especially your Cape buffalo, because they can live in herds of about just over 200 animals, and they have several hundred pairs of eyes all looking out for danger, as well as thick hide and formidable horns, and they could easily snap a lion's spine. And if you think I'm being over the top, I've actually seen a video of a lioness being headbutted by a buffalo that has lifted her into the air to get her away from her calf. And of course, I actually can't think of a single animal in the world that has a greater range in prey size than lions. I mean, they'll take anything from an insect right up to an elephant. I mean, that is just the most phenomenal amount of power. But also, lions have occasionally been known to hunt livestock, but that's mainly when natural prey is unavailable, quite often because ranchers overhunt them, they kill livestock. And then, of course, ranchers, when they try and get rid of lions, that often results in the lions retaliating back by attacking the ranchers. And of course, more than 100 people are killed each year by lions in Africa, so they are confirmed man-eaters. Of course, whenever people go and see lions in Africa, quite often they just think they're rubbish, just lying around and yawning in the shade. But that's mainly down to the fact that where they live out in the African savannah, it tends to be very, very hot during the day, and also they're lazing around, as they call it, as people call it. It's just them conserving their energy for when they need to hunt. And of course, to avoid the hot savannah days, lions will try to do most of their hunting at night. And like all members of the cat family, lions have a layer of cells at the back of their eyes called the platinum lucida, which enhances their night vision. It absorbs any available light, and of course, it gives them eyesight that's said to be 6 times more powerful than ours, especially at night, and that's one advantage they have that makes them so good at hunting at night. Of course, how lions hunt is they work as a team, with the lioness encircling their prey, and then once they've all set the trap, they chase after their prey. They can reach about 50 miles per hour in a heated pursuit, but lions are too heavy for a long distance chase, so they can only maintain the speed for short distances. So what they have to do is they have to leap forward, grab their prey, and tackle it to the ground, and then they will finish it off with a bite to the throat to suffocate it. Or for smaller prey like a warthog, a single swipe from a superior forepaw should be able to kill it outright. But larger prey like wildebeest or zebra will have to be suffocated by them hanging on to the throat. And of course, once their prey is dead, it's time to feed. lions will all eat their fair share of meat, and of course the males eat first, followed by the lionesses, and young cubs will finish the remains. That's when lion cubs are about 8 to 10 weeks old, that's when their mothers first take them to a kill. And believe it or not, one lion can eat about 110 pounds of meat at a single sitting, so that's half my body weight in one go. And that will usually satisfy their hunger for a few days. Of course, lions have only two natural enemies apart from man. The first is spotted hyenas, because spotted hyenas have been known to be able to drive lions away from their kill, but also they will occasionally kill the cubs or even fully grown adults if they got the chance. But also buffalo are another natural enemy of lions because they have been known to attack lion prides to try and kill their young. And I know a lot of you are probably looking at the white lion and thinking that's got to be its own separate species, when actually the white lion is not its own separate species. It's actually a rare variant of the southern African lion. And of course, it's all down to a genetic development or disorder. That means they lack the pigment that gives them the colour. And it's very rare. I mean, it was only recorded in the wild. Well, it was first recorded in the wild in the 1920s, I think it was. But throughout African history, white lions have been rumoured to appear once or twice in a generation. And of course, they are very, very rare, but there's a lot of legends about them, like the White King of the Beasts, that the white lion is a messenger of God and sent to bring peace and prosperity. But unfortunately, it was these things that nearly caused the white lion to go extinct, because they were hunted inaccessibly by humans. I mean, they were hunted for their fur because it's so beautiful, but also for their cubs to be taken from the wild and sold through the illegal pet trade, where they would be used as exotic pets or kept in disreputable zoos, circuses, or even a rich man's private collection. And by the 1990s, white lions were almost extinct in the wild, but they have made a recovery, and there are white lions in the wild today. In fact, there's actually a reserve in South Africa, just a few miles away from the Kruger National Park, where they actually keep white lions that have been born in a national park and might be at risk from being taken, so they're taken to that reserve to be well protected. Probably the most famous example of the white lion comes from a Michael Morpurgo book, The Butterfly Lion, and my mum read that to me when I was quite little, and it's about a boy named Bertie Andrews who grows up on a ranch in South Africa, and he adopts an orphaned white lion cub after his mother's killed by his father. But when Bertie is forced to go to boarding school in England, the lion is sold to a French circus showman. But they promise to find each other again, and of course they do, but I could go on about that book for ages, but I'm trying to focus on lions here. Of course, the lion, the African lion, is probably my favourite big cat in the world. Of course, they are, with the white lion, there are white lions in captivity, but unfortunately a lot of them are victims of inbreeding, which has caused a lot of genetic disorders and health problems for them. But African lions are unfortunately a threatened species because they're hunted